Hi, I'm Janet Mock. I am the writer, director, and executive producer of Pose, as well as Hollywood. And this is how I write a script. When I'm getting ready to write, the first thing is a quiet space, setting up the environment, setting up the mood. I have my writer's playlist, which is a lot of mellow kind of pop and R&B. There's a lot of Jhené Aiko, a lot of Solange, a lot of Billie Eilish. Usually it's very my emo mood. I want to get myself into that. I have different books, like some of my favorite books that I've read, novels, articles, poetry books. I have that near me so that when I do get stuck, I can pick up one of them and just open a page and read a couple passages, and usually I get really jealous and competitive. So then I'm like, Zora Neale Hurston said it this way. Okay, so let me figure out how I would say it for this and that. And then I have my legal pads, just stacks of them, where I write longhand first so that I don't self-edit. When I'm writing on deadline, I have to be very strict with myself about how much I'm going to spend time on certain scenes. How important is this scene? Is this scene just getting us somewhere, or is it the meat and the juice of what you need? You know, when we're in production, say for season 3 of Pose, some days I would be in between setups, I'd be in my office and I would write during the lunch break. Those boundaries, I feel like so much creativity can come out of that boundaries. I spend a lot of time really breaking down character and what they want, what their desires are, how they're going to get it.
Hey, baby.
Girl, what are you doing out here? You said you wasn't going to walk the piers no more. There are more.
On Pose for Blanca, we spent months and months just thinking about her. What does she want for season 1? And then when we got to season 2, it was like, what does Blanca want? Because character drives so much of everything, I think that they then take over and dictate what's required in the moment.
Once it's in you, you're on borrowed time.
Fever was my first script that I wrote on my own. And so I had this pressure on my shoulders to make sure that I got it right. And we had introduced a new character in that too. We had Ms. Orlando. We were establishing her, and we wanted her to strike the right balance between authoritative, but then also high camp a little bit. And so it was like a weird kind of thing. And so hitting that tone was something I remember we took drafts and drafts from Ryan specifically, just he's like, tone it down. Okay, bring this up a little bit. And so we kind of were just trying to, and I think there was a point where we just realized that it's not in the writing, it's going to be in the directing. When you have a partner, it's so much easier because you challenge each other and you work in collaboration. With Ryan and I, it was a lot of phone calls. The process is the same. You argue, you fight, you pitch. When you're sharing an episode credit, you're collaborating with someone, you're paired with someone for an episode, even though you talked it out in the room. So you kind of work by passing the drafts, your own personal drafts back and forth.
I don't have to put you down when you're always in the bottom.
But I remember that one, Never Knew Love Like This Before. We knew that we wanted a character, one of the women, to pass away. We didn't quite know which one, and we were really battling each other in the writer's room. Ryan just had an epiphany. It came to him in a vision, just complete the whole episode. Ryan is the boss, he's the showrunner, so he tends to win. And so it led us to find who the character was, who was gonna be the centerpiece of the emotional arc for the episode. The song definitely came first for Never Knew Love Like This Before. At first, I think we had a working title just called Candy. And then when the first thing Ryan said was that I want her to lip sync to the Stephanie Mills song. For me specifically, it gave me an internal compass to follow. And I played that song over and over and over again, probably for all of the emotional scenes that I had to sit down and write. For me, I think the hardest scenes were the reveal scenes in House of Evangelista, where Blanca has to tell Lulu for the first time, because those two are always seen together.
Candy's not coming home.
What do you mean?
That was a tough one. And the parent scene, for me, the centerpiece of the emotional arc of that episode comes to fruition through the parents, Candy being able to talk to them.
This is me, Ma. This is who I truly am.
Writing for act breaks and commercial breaks is probably the most difficult thing when we're outlining and when we're beating an episode. Sometimes it's a great challenge because in that way you can end on little mini cliffhangers. I think it gives us great structure, but at the same time, I find myself frustrated by that process. But again, I think limitations and boundaries are really great. It kind of forces you to think of inventive ways, and Ryan's always thinking about how can we use those limitations to tell a better story. So in this sense, having a little bit of suspense that we wanted to build through the episode with Candy's death. That's one instance where it was like, we know that we're going to cut there and then reset. I think, for me, what's always hardest, and I think I give this as the advice all the time, is like not to be too precious with your work and what you've written, because I have the hardest time when scenes get shot and then they get cut. That's tough for me because I've already seen it come to fruition. I've seen the dailies. I was on set supervising. Sometimes it's always hard for me to take it, and I'm always trying to fight. And I think that that's always just the way that it works in television specifically, because you have to move so fast to get all of the episodes done for the air date.